There are 5 ways people mess up the sale of their homes in Toronto. I'll be talking about them so you can avoid them. Now, for those of you that think homes sell themselves, the market is still strong in Toronto because inventory is limited, you need to hear this because it is complicated. Sales were down by 43% in July when compared to the peak in May. Now, markets can and do change every 30 to 90 days, but right now we're in a summer market and things are soft. It's not May. And the real estate landscape that we find ourselves in today, we've never seen before. While home prices, true, they haven't crashed in Toronto, but things are very tough for a lot of people right now. The cost of living is 40% higher than it was just a few years ago. Core inflation, it's not backing down fast enough, and oil prices are surging. CPI was just announced and it rose to 3.3% in July. So what does that mean for the BOC rate announcement in September? Who knows? Personal bankruptcies and proposals are up by 31% in Ontario from last year. Now, I don't want to be negative, I just want to be realistic. Amortizations are being extended by the banks to 70, 80, 90 years just to keep people in their homes. I mean, at that rate, our grandkids will be paying off our mortgages. Homeowners with variable rate mortgages that have fixed payments are in negative amortization, and this is a very precarious position to be in. Their payments don't cover the increase in interest portion on the loan. So that unpaid interest amount, it gets added to the principal, ballooning the size of the mortgage. And in the long run, it increases the cost of their mortgage payments, but later on. Now that sounds a little too much like subprime loans to me. The cost of housing, it's at an all-time high, and with prime being at 7.2%, the cost to borrow, it hasn't been this expensive in the past 22 years. So those 2 factors alone are limiting the number of buyers who can even afford to purchase right now. There are 1.1 million mortgages up for renewal in 2023, and that's expected to peak in 2025. Rates, they're expected to still be high. Now, not everyone can afford to renew when those amortizations, when they come back down to 25, 30 years. Those homeowners, they will need a precise selling strategy that just nails it. Hi and welcome, I'm Arlene Monzar. I started working as a Toronto real estate agent in 2008, and I say this not to scare sellers, but to deal in reality. Yes, inventory is limited right now, but there are also a limited number of buyers who are 1, capable and 2, motivated to buy. I've seen many different markets, and the strategy that works in one type of market, it doesn't work in all markets. So as sellers, we have to be responsive to the current market conditions. In this video, I'll be discussing those 5 mistakes home sellers commonly make, and yes, there are more, but for today, I'll be discussing just 5 reasons why your home won't sell. If you have any real estate questions that I can help you with, please feel free to either leave a comment or you can reach out directly to me. My contact information is in the description box below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're finding this information to be helpful, and I thank you for your support. Price. Everyone hates it when agents talk about realistic pricing, but price is the most important marketing tool you have to sell your home. And in the month of July, the total residential price average of $1.06 million was down by 10% from the year-to-date high in May when it was $1.19 million. Yes, that average is up by over 4% when compared to last July. So true, homes are still expensive. But if we're selling today, we have to recognize that the number of sales that took place in July were actually down by 43% compared to May. So fewer people are buying this summer. That's mostly due to the fact that the BOC increased rates on July 12th, and people are worried about what they're going to do in September. Finally, there's over 22% more homes available for sale at the end of July when we compare it to May. So when there's more supply and less demand, prices go down. If you'd like to dive a bit deeper into the Toronto July stats, specifically regarding the average pricing per housing type and my market forecasting, I'll link my July market review video at the end of this one. Presentation. Selling a home, it's a lot like a beauty contest. The prettiest girl wins. Now, the presentation of your home, it's got to speak to the buyer's emotions and logic. You're selling a lifestyle first that matches their dreams, but it also has to make sense. Now, if your home screams dirty, broken or just plain outrageous and confusing, buyers that are looking for a family home, they're going to run and run fast. Now I'm going through the MLS and I'm taking a look at some of these listings that have been on the market for 70 days, and I'm looking at the pictures, and I mostly blame the agents. They're hideous. These homes, they're going to scare any young family with small children that are looking for a home to raise their family. I realize a lot of people are very stressed out under these current market conditions, and I blame the agents for how these properties are being presented to the marketplace. But sometimes all it takes is a vision, some paint and some elbow grease and some fresh white linens, and you can turn that baby around. Your agent goes MIA. It's summertime and you can't get a hold of your agent. You just had a showing and you'd like some feedback on that latest showing. You text your agent and it takes hours and hours, or maybe even a full day for them to get back to you. And then they tell you, oh, it didn't go very well. That's unacceptable. When first interviewing an agent, home sellers think that asking the question, well, how many homes did you sell last year or last month, is any indication of how well their transaction when selling their house is going to go with that agent. More importantly, sellers need to understand, what's the process of working with that agent? What are the current market conditions? What's the likely price range that my home's going to sell in? And I want you to pay attention to that bottom end of that range. Everybody always just hears the top end. How many days on market is it going to take to sell my home? And what will that agent specifically do to drive qualified buying traffic through my home above and beyond putting it on the MLS and having an open house? Even more importantly, what is that agent's communication style and negotiation tactics? For instance, if and when you do get an offer on the property, what will the agent do? Are they going to look for another offer? Will they just recommend signing it back, and with what terms and conditions? How will that agent let you know about buyer feedback after showings? How are they going to let you know if anything needs to change with the property after that feedback? How are they going to plan to mitigate buyer objections to your property? And what's their plan to get qualified buyers into your home and stepping up with an offer to purchase? Your selling experience is going to be determined by how the agent sets up your expectations realistically, how the right marketing strategy is going to be implemented based on the current market conditions, and how they're going to bring in qualified buyers who are capable of closing on your home. This is far more important than how they did when homes were just flying off the shelf. Turning down the first offer. You get an offer, but it's not great. You have this knee-jerk reaction to tear up the paperwork and just throw it in the garbage and tell the buyer to take a hike. You are understandably offended and angry. You want to see real numbers, so you tell your agent to keep showing the property. And you do get a few more showings, and then crickets. In slower market conditions, it's worth noting that your first offer may actually be, in fact, your best offer. There are fewer buyers in the marketplace right now, so those buyers that are qualified and motivated to buy, they're serious. Those buyers who are actually out shopping during the summer months when everyone else is taking holidays or they can't qualify, those buyers know it and they want a deal. One of the biggest obstacles we as agents have to deal with when working with buyers is their fear that if they buy this house, they're going to miss out on something better. They get excited about new listings that come to market and they move on pretty quickly. So if you get an offer, work with it. Sign it back. Put your emotions aside and negotiate. Going stale. Many sellers wait for the fall market to make their next move. By the third week in September, we see the launch of many new listings for buyers to choose from. Now, if a home has been on the market since June and is still sitting available for sale in September, that's going to be a very tough hill to climb in order to get that home sold amongst all the shiny new homes listed for sale. Your home will likely get lost in the shuffle. Buyers naturally think that there's something wrong with an older listing and they just avoid it altogether. Agents use stale listings as a comparison to sell new listings. You'll have to relaunch with substantial changes to that listing in order to make it feel fresh and new. Now, whether that's reflected in the price or the presentation or both. Are you looking for strategic real estate advice, whether you're buying or selling in Toronto? Please feel free to reach out directly to me to arrange a consultation. We'll discuss your unique situation and develop that optimal strategy to help you get from where you currently are to where you want to be in Toronto. My contact information is in the description box below, and I look forward to hearing from you.